Abbotsford is a city in British Columbia next to the Canada-United States border, Greater Vancouver, and the Fraser River. With a census population of 153,569 people, 2021, it is the largest municipality in the province outside metropolitan Vancouver. 3 Abbotsford Mission has the 3rd highest proportion of visible minorities among census metropolitan areas in Canada, after the Greater Toronto Area and the Greater Vancouver CMA. 7. It is home to Tradux, the University of the Fraser Valley, and Abbotsford International Airport. As of the 2021 census, it is the largest municipality of the Fraser Valley Regional District and the 5th largest municipality of British Columbia. The Abbotsford Mission metropolitan area of around 195,726 inhabitants as of the 2021 census is the 23rd largest census metropolitan area in Canada. 4. It has also been named by Statistics Canada as Canada's most generous city in terms of charitable donations for 9 straight years. 8. The community of 375.55 square kilometers, 145.00 square miles, is the largest city by area in British Columbia. The municipality's southern boundary is the Canada-United States border. In Canada, it is bordered by the township of Langley to the west, the city of Mission to the north, and the city of Chilliwack to the east. Abbotsford borders the town of Sumas, Washington, to the south. Much of Abbotsford has views of Mount Baker to the southeast, in Washington, and the Coast Mountains to the north. Settlement first residents of the area are the Stowe, Lil Nation. 9. The Upper Sumas 6 Indian Reserve of the Sumas First Nation is located at Kilgard, within Abbotsford city limits. 10. European settlement began when the Royal Engineers surveyed the area in response to the gold rush along the Fraser River in 1858. This led to the building of Yale Road, today Old Yale Road, the first transportation route to link the Fraser Valley. The settlement grew and the production of butter, milk, and tobacco began by the late 1860s. In 1889, former Royal Engineer John Cunningham McClure applied for a Crown grant to obtain the 160 acres, 0.65 square kilometers, the Sikh Temple, located on 33,089 South Fraser Way, is the oldest Sikh temple in North America. Built in 1908 and opened in 1911, it is now over 110 years old, outlasting the now demolished 2nd Avenue Temple in Vancouver, opened in 1908. 11. And the Golden Temple opened in 1905, which was destroyed by fire. 12. There is some controversy over the origin of the Abbotsford name. 13. The most commonly cited origin is that McClure named the land Abbotsford after family friend Henry Braithwaite Abbott, the Western Superintendent of the Canadian Pacific Railway. 14. McClure's sons later stated that the property had actually been named for Sir Walter Scott's home, Abbotsford House, and pronounced it with the accent on Ford. 15. In his later years, McClure himself claimed that the naming had been a combination of 2 ideas. 13. The Acrigs say that McClure in an 1894 letter said that when the town was laid out in 1894, the town was named for Henry Abbott, General Superintendent of the CPR and brother of Sir John Abbott, Prime Minister. 16. One contemporary period downtown Abbotsford title passed hands to Robert Ward, who filed a townsite subdivision on July 9, 1891. Also in 1891, the CPR built a railway line through the area that connected Mission with the Seattle, Lake Shore, and Eastern Railway at Sumas, Washington. This route was the only rail connection between Vancouver and Seattle until 1904. The village of Abbotsford was incorporated in 1892. At that time, Robert Ward sold many of the lots to private investors, but also sold off a significant portion to the Great Northern Railway's subsidiary company, the Vancouver, Victoria, and Eastern Railway. The British Columbia Electric Railway (BCE) arrived in 1910. The interurban, as the BCER tram linking Abbotsford with Vancouver and Chilliwack was discontinued in 1950, but BCER's successor, BC Hydro, retains the right to reintroduce passenger rail service. Service to Vancouver runs from neighboring Mission by way of the West Coast Express. The most notable natural disaster to hit Abbotsford was a major flood of the Fraser River in 1948. In September 1984, Pope John Paul II held an open-air mass for over 200,000 people at Abbotsford International Airport. 17. The amalgamation of the village of Abbotsford and the district of Sumas into the district of Abbotsford occurred in 1972. The district of Abbotsford amalgamated with the district of Montreal in 1995 to become the city of Abbotsford, raising the population significantly. In June 2013, the city of Abbotsford spread chicken manure on a homeless camp located in the city. 18. Abbotsford Mayor Bruce Bamman publicly apologized for the incident. 19. The city of Abbotsford has a long and ongoing history of gang-related crime, particularly that of violence and the illegal sale of controlled substances. 2021-20-23. On November 16, 2021, Abbotsford residents living in the Sumas Prairie were given an evacuation order given the flooding in British Columbia at the time, the city calling the situation catastrophic. 24. City of Abbotsford. In the 2021 census of population conducted by Statistics Canada, Abbotsford had a population of 153,524, living in 53,230 of its 55,659 total private dwellings, a change of 8.6% from its 2016 population of 141,000, with a land area of 375.33 square kilometers, 140.9 to square miles. It had a population density of 409.0 per square kilometers, 1,059.4 square mi in 2021. 3. The 2021 census reported that immigrants, individuals born outside Canada, comprise 43,190 persons, or 28.6% of the total population of Abbotsford. Of the total immigrant population, the top countries of origin were India, 23,830 persons, or 55.2%, United Kingdom, 2,310 persons, or 5.3%, Philippines, 1,735 persons, or 4.0%, United States of America, 1,395 persons, or 3.2%, Netherlands, 895 persons, or 2.1%, Vietnam, 885 persons, or 2.0%, South Korea, 850 persons, or 2.0%, China, 845 persons, or 2.0%, Germany, 820 persons, or 1.9%, and Pakistan, 565 persons, or 1.3%. Religiona plurality of Abbotsford's population is Christian. 26. Many of the largest congregations in the city are Mennonite Brethren. The next largest religious group is Sikh. 26. Opened in 1911, the city contains the oldest existing Sikh Gurdwara built in Canada and North America, with earlier Gurdwaras built in Kitsilano 1908, 27, and Golden 1905-12, since being demolished or destroyed by fire. 28. A National Historic Site, located in central Abbotsford. The Gursikh Temple is now over 110 years old. According to the 2021 census, the largest pan-ethnic group is European, comprising approximately 55.2% of the municipal population. 26C. This group includes German, Dutch, British, Irish, Scandinavian, and Slavic ethnic origins. The next largest pan-ethnic group in Abbotsford is South Asian, comprising 30.2% of the city population. This group includes India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Maldives, and Sri Lankan national origins, while the population in Abbotsford primarily includes persons of Punjabi ethnic origin. 26 members of the ethnic group first arrived in the early 1900s to work on farms and in the lumber industry. 2930, this is followed by Indigenous peoples at 4.6% of the population, Southeast Asians 3.1%, and East Asians to 0.7%. 26. Abbotsford CMA. At the Census Metropolitan Area CMA level in the 2021 census, the Abbotsford Mission CMA had a population of 195,726, living in 67,613 of its 70,648 total private dwellings, a change of 8% from its 2016 population of 180,000, with a land area of 606.7 square kilometers, 234.26 square miles. It had a population density of 322.6 per square kilometers, 835.5 square mi in 2021. The 2021 Canadian census reported that immigrants, individuals born outside Canada, comprise 50,085 persons, or 26.1% of the total population of the Abbotsford Mission CMA. Of the total immigrant population, the top countries of origin were India 25,990 persons, or 51.9%, United Kingdom 3,295 persons, or 6.6%, Philippines 2,065 persons, or 4.1%, United States of America 1,725 persons, or 3.4%, Germany 1,085 persons, or 2.2%, Netherlands 1,070 persons, or 2.1%, Vietnam 1,040 persons, or 2.1%, China 990 persons, or 2.0%, South Korea 930 persons, or 1.9%, and Pakistan 600 persons, or 1.2%. 35. Ethnicity. Abbotsford has the third highest proportion of visible minorities among census metropolitan areas in Canada, after the Greater Toronto Area and Greater Vancouver. 7. The Abbotsford metropolitan area has Canada's highest census metropolitan area proportion of South Asians. 36. Climate. Abbotsford has an oceanic climate, climate type CFB, with just enough summer precipitation not to be classified as warm summer Mediterranean. Summers are generally warm and drier than at other times of the year, and winters are rainy and very mild by Canadian standards. Snowfall can be heavy, but usually not very long-lasting, on average falling mostly in December and January. Economy. Farmhouse and barn in Abbotsford. Some 62% of residents in Abbotsford work in the city of Abbotsford itself. Most of the remaining 38% commute to Mission, Chilliwack, or Vancouver and its suburbs, primarily Surrey and Langley. More than 25% of Abbotsford's workforce commutes to Abbotsford from other municipalities. 50. The Conference Board of Canada has identified the local economy as one of the most diverse in the country. 51. Abbotsford's main industries are agriculture, transportation, manufacturing, and retail. The city earns the highest dollar per acre of agricultural land in the country, greater than the Niagara region and the North Okanagan. Total sales from agricultural businesses grew from $635,000 in 2010 to nearly $1 billion as of 2021, and accounts for almost 50% of all chicken, eggs, and dairy milk production for all of British Columbia. MBIA. 50 to 51. The BC government's Animal Health Centre at the Abbotsford Agriculture Centre offers more than 400 laboratory diagnostic tests for agents that may be found in wild and domestic birds, mammals, fish, reptiles, and amphibians, and is the leading accredited full-service veterinary laboratory in Western Canada. 53. The facility has housed a Biosafety Level 3 laboratory since October 2009. 50. For 55. Abbotsford Regional Hospital and Cancer Centre and Community Health Services make Fraser Health the city's largest employer with about 2,500 staff. 56. The city is also home to 3 federal prisons, each of which employs between 200 and 500 officers and support staff. There is also a growing aerospace industry, led by Cascade Aerospace and Conair Group Inc. Local, and privately owned confectionery company Brookside Foods was acquired by the Hershey Company in 2011. 57. In 2016, it announced it would be closing. 58. Education 36 public elementary, middle, and secondary schools are administered by the Abbotsford School District. 59. This includes a virtual school called the Abbotsford Virtual School that offers more than 30 semestered online courses. This school offers a unique animation and modeling program that teaches students aspects of the video game industry as well as many other courses such as mathematics, English, and science. Private schools include Dasmesh Punjabi School, St. John Brebeuf Regional Secondary, Mennonite Educational Institute, and Abbotsford Christian School. Post-secondary institutions in the city include the University of the Fraser Valley, religious institutions such as Columbia Bible College and Summit Pacific College, as well as career colleges such as Career Gate Community College, Sprott Shaw College, Vancouver Career College, Menace Skills and Employment Center, and CDI College. Arts, Culture, and Heritage. The Abbotsford Arts Council hosts a number of free local events, including music in Mill Lake Park, the Artie Awards, and more recently, the Christmas Artisan Gift Fair. It has been involved in projects such as the Abbotsford Unity Statue, Abbotsford Christmas Craft Fair, Art in the Park, Abbotsford's Art and Heritage Unity Festival, and the historical Downtown Art Bench Project, as well as maintaining the Keratin Art Gallery, which features and hosts exhibitions from local artists of all mediums residing in the Lower Mainland. The Reach Gallery Museum features exhibitions from across Canada and around the world, as well as the work of local artists. It houses a heritage archive, runs special events, programs, and courses, and seeks to promote local arts and culture. Trethewey House Heritage Site features a restored 1920s craftsman-style house built by J.O. Trethewey, one of the owners of the lumber and shingle mill that gave Mill Lake Park its name. The municipally designated Heritage House and adjacent gallery are open to the public for special events, educational programming, and drop-in tours. The Mennonite Heritage Museum, which opened in January 2016, features a permanent exhibit that tells the 500-year-old story of the Anabaptist Mennonite movement, with a particular focus on the history of those Mennonites who settled in Abbotsford beginning in the early 1930s. The museum also has a gallery that features the work of local Mennonite artists, a coffee shop serving traditional Mennonite foods, a bookstore, and a replica traditional Mennonite house barn that includes a permanent exhibit focusing on Mennonites and agriculture. The museum is also home to the library and archive of the Mennonite Historical Society of British Columbia. Gallery 7 Theatre and Performing Arts has been one of Abbotsford's only performing arts organizations since 1991 and operates out of Mennonite Educational Institute. They produce for Mainstage Productions every year. Transportation Pooble bus transportation is provided by the Central Fraser Valley Transit System. Passenger rail service to Vancouver currently runs from nearby Mission by way of the West Coast Express. Air links are provided by the Abbotsford International Airport. WestJet provides regular scheduled service from the airport due to its proximity to Vancouver's eastern suburbs. The airport is also the home of the annual Abbotsford International Air Show. Major transportation routes leading into Abbotsford are the Trans-Canada Highway No. 1, the Abbotsford Mission Highway No. 11, and the Fraser Highway No. 1A. Access to the United States is via the Sumas-Huntingdon border crossing. 6061. Sport Hockey Aborts Minor Hockey is one of the largest associations in British Columbia, with more than 1,000 players registered from the ages of 5 through 18 years old. This association is recognized by many as a model and a leader in the development of minor hockey programs, and several Abbotsford-raised players have gone on to the highest levels of this sport. In the 2005-06 hockey season, Abbotsford's Bantam AAA team were ultimately the Western Canadian Bantam champions. and 8 individual players from this team, the most ever, were selected in the 2006 WHL Bantam Draft. The Abbotsford Pilots of the Pacific International Junior Hockey League Junior B level play at MSA Arena, which is Abbotsford's second-largest arena at just over 400 seats. Abbotsford was considered as a possible home for the Chilliwack Chiefs Junior, who were forced to move in 2006 when the Chilliwack Bruins, a WHL expansion team, took over their arena, Prospera Center. Abbotsford would have become the home of the Chiefs if the city had supported them in building a new arena. Instead, the Chiefs moved to Langley. Construction has now been completed in Abbotsford on a far bigger sports and entertainment center with 7,500 seats, 67 from 2009 until 2014. Abbotsford hosted the NHL's Calgary Flames American Hockey League All-Affiliate. The Abbotsford Heat, 68, 69, 70, 71, home games were played at the Abbotsford Entertainment and Sports Center. On May 6, 2021, the NHL's Vancouver Canucks were approved to relocate their All-Affiliate to Abbotsford for the 2021-22 season as the Abbotsford Canucks. 72 other sports from 2012 and 2013, the BC Angels of the Legends Football League's LFL Canada division played at the Abbotsford Entertainment and Sports Center. 73 Abbotsford's Jane and Jerry Swan Track at Rotary Stadium is home to the Valley Royals Track and Field Club, who have produced numerous Olympians, including 2 for the 2008 Olympics. Rotary Stadium was also home to the now-defunct Abbotsford Air Force of the Canadian Junior Football League. Abbotsford has a superior youth soccer program, winning to national titles and numerous provincial titles. It is also home of soccer all-stars Sophie Schmidt, Brad P. Toom, and Adam Lang. Abbotsford is home to the Abbotsford Mariners of the United Soccer League's Premier Development League, the highest level of amateur soccer in North America. Abbotsford is home to many high school sports, with Abbotsford Senior Secondary School, W.J. Mouat Secondary, Rick Hansen Secondary, Robert Bateman Secondary, St. John Brebeuf Secondary, Yale Secondary, and the Mennonite Educational Institute, among others, doing very well in track and field, volleyball, basketball, and football. These schools have consistently ranked among the highest in the province. The Yale Secondary Senior Boys Basketball Team, under Coach Al Friesen, won the 2008 AAA Provincial Boys Basketball Championship. 70 for Abbotsford's Rugby Club supports 3 men's teams. To women's teams, U19 men's and women's, U15, U16, and U17 men's, and a great mini rugby program. Many of Abbotsford's players have gone on to play for Canada, such as Aaron Lockwood, Ryan McQuinney, Scott Hunter, and Brody Henderson. 75 in Olympic sports. Abbotsford's Alana Krause has won medals in short track speed skating. In 2005, the Abbotsford Mission metropolitan area had the highest property crime rate and the second highest violent crime rate among cities with a population of 100,000 to 500,000 in Canada. 76. The metropolitan area had the highest rate of homicides nationally for 2 years running, 2008 and 2009, with a rate of 5.22 homicides per 100,000 population, compared with the national average of 1.81. 77-78. In 2010, the rate was 2.3. 79. The city of Abbotsford has its own municipal police force, one of 11 municipal police forces in British Columbia. It is the 3rd largest municipal police force in British Columbia behind Vancouver and Victoria. As of 2006, the Abbotsford Police Department employed nearly 200 officers and 80 civilian employees. The Abbotsford Police Department was officially formed in 1995 when the District of Motsqui and the District of Abbotsford amalgamated to become the City of Abbotsford. Prior to the amalgamation, the District of Motsqui was patrolled by the Motsqui Police and the District of Abbotsford by the RCMP. During the referendum, citizens elected to keep a municipal police force. Mission is a city in the lower mainland of the province of British Columbia, Canada. It was originally incorporated as a district municipality in 1892, growing to include additional villages and rural areas over the years, adding the original town of Mission City, long an independent core of the region, in 1969. It is bordered by the city of Abbotsford to the south and the city of Maple Ridge to the west. To the east are the unincorporated areas of Hatzic and Dewdney. It is situated on the north bank of the Fraser River, backing onto mountains and lakes overlooking the central Fraser Valley, 65 kilometers 40 miles southeast of Vancouver. Unlike the other Fraser Valley municipalities, Mission is mostly forested upland with only small floodplains lining the Some benches of farmland rise in succession northwards above the core developed area of the city. Mission was once the heart of the berry industry in the Fraser Valley, with home of the Big Red Strawberry as Mission's slogan in the 1930s and into the 1940s. The more southerly portion of the municipality is bounded on the west by the lower reaches of the Stave River, which consists mostly of the lake waters of two hydroelectric reservoirs, Stave Lake and Hayward Lake. Although the vast majority of the population of Mission lives well to the east of the Stave, over 50% of the northern land area of the municipality is west and north of that river. Its extreme northwest corner is on the far side of Upper Alouette Lake. A small portion of the lower Stave still runs free in its last 2 miles before its confluence with the Fraser at Ruskin. Its last 3/4 of a mile forms the border with the larger municipality of Maple Ridge to the west. Over 40% of Mission is tree farm, making it one of 2 communities, with municipal tree farms the other being Revelstoke, with a much smaller and newer farm. Mission's tree farm celebrated its 50th anniversary in 2008. It comprises much of the northern part of the district, including the area west of the Stave River, up to the district's northern boundary near the foot of Mount Roby Reed. A small sliver of Mission District is at the head of Alouette Lake, normally thought of as being in Maple Ridge. The eastern boundary of the municipality roughly coincides with the division between the Mission Upland and the alluvial floodplain of Hatzic Prairie, which resembles much of the rest of the Fraser Valley lowland. The unincorporated communities from Hatzic eastwards through Dewdney and Nikomen Island to Derrick are part of the social and commercial matrix centered on Mission, but have never joined the municipality, as is also the case with areas north of Hatzic and Dewdney, such as McConnell Creek and Daru. The local economy and societies are built on dairy, berry, and corn farming, as well as a large First Nations community at the Indian reserves of the Leke Mill First Nation, formerly known as the Lakahamen First Nation, on Nikomen Island and Derrick. Government Mission was incorporated in 1892 and is 225.78 square kilometers, 87.17 square miles in size. In 1922, the district of Mission was partitioned by the creation of the village of Mission, which later became the village of Mission City, then the town of Mission City, until amalgamated with the district by plebiscite in 1969. The city of Mission uses the current council-manager system of local government. The present council was elected on October 15, 2022. The current mayor is Paul Horn. A notable past mayor is Pam Alexis, who resigned as the mayor of Mission in November 2020 after winning a seat for the provincial riding of Abbotsford Mission in the Legislative Assembly of British Columbia. The town of Mission City took its name from the local St. Mary's Mission and residential school established earlier in 1861 and began as a land promotion. The town's core commercial properties and residential streets were auctioned off through James Horn's auction, the Great Land Sale, May 19, 1891. With buyers brought in via the CPR main line from Vancouver, as well as from eastern Canada. Soon afterwards, Harry Brown French, an American from New York, came to the city and founded the Mission Regional Chamber of Commerce on June 19, 1893. 5. It was the first board of trade in BC. 6. Some of the early houses and commercial buildings were, in fact, specifically designed to be reminiscent of small towns in southern Ontario in order to encourage buyers. Hailed at the time as a new metropolis, the fledgling town's location at the junction of the Canadian Pacific Railway main line with a northward extension of the Burlington Northern Railroad brought NAM suggestions that included East Vancouver and North Seattle. The name Mission City was chosen due to the site's proximity to the historic St. Mary's Mission of the Oblate Order just east of town, which was founded in 1868, now the Peckalis Indian Reserve. At the time of founding, the Swing-Span Mission Railway Bridge opened in 1891 was the only crossing of the Fraser River in the Fraser Valley below the Alexandra Bridge, and all rail traffic between Vancouver and the United States was necessarily routed through Mission until the New Westminster Bridge at New Westminster was built in 1904. The rail bridge at Mission doubled duty as a one-way alternating vehicular bridge until 1973, when a long-promised new Mission Bridge was finally completed. The bridge's location is geographically important at the head of the tidal bore on the Fraser River, and its water level gauge is an important measure of the Fraser's annual and sometimes dangerously ill. Prime Minister Sir Wilfrid Laurier visiting Mission City. 1910 Mission City's original retail core was in the small area of lowland between the CPR main line and the river. Following the Great Flood of 1894, a few years after the town's founding, the core was relocated just north of the rail line at the foot of the hillside rising above the rail junction. This small commercial strip, originally named Washington Avenue, later Main Street, and since the 1980s called First Avenue, is only 4 or 5 blocks long and was one of the principal commercial centers of the Fraser Valley for many decades and had a lively retail trade and social life. Following the 1894 flood, abandoned buildings and lots in the old downtown were taken over by Chinese merchants and workers, creating a Chinatown, which lasted until the 1920s. 7. The western part of the district, the Stave Valley, is largely rural and forested, but its watercourse is home to what was the largest hydroelectric project in British Columbia until the Bridge Drive. Our power project opened and it was built by the British Columbia Electric Railway, BCER, to provide power to the Electric Street Railway and interurban system in Vancouver. The Stave Falls Power Co. operated a light gauge railway for passenger and freight service up the lower canyon of the river to the dam at Stave Falls. During the construction of the Ruskin Dam, completed 1931, the railway was rebuilt at a higher elevation so as to skirt the new Hayward Lake Reservoir. The rail line has long been discontinued, but the old grade and its trestles are now part of a recreation trail circling the reservoir. Flanking the outraces of the powerhouse at Stave Falls, there was once a fairly large community, 300 houses, which was served by the railway via connections to the CPR line at Ruskin, although the then very rough Dewdney Trunk Road used the dam to cross the Stave River. Population in the Stave Falls area is now away from the dams, west along the Dewdney Trunk towards Maple Ridge, in a rural farmland wilderness area south of Raleigh Lake Provincial Park, up against the Maple Ridge boundary near the waterfront on the west side of the Stave, and halfway between the dam and the mills at Ruskin, was a large drive-in theater for many years. It is now a large trailer park and the most populated of Ruskin's neighborhoods. The building of the Highway 1 freeway on the south side of the Fraser in the early 1960s brought huge population growth and large shopping malls to formerly rural Abbotsford, Motsquie, Sumas, and Langley. As a result, Mission lost its anchor, the main Eaton's department store in the valley, and the town's main street businesses lost much of their business to the new shopping malls a few minutes away across the river. This process was accelerated with the opening of the new bridge in the mid-1970s. Mission Post Office, First Avenue at Welton Avenue in the heart of Mission's commercial core despite a cohesive business community, and new retail malls on the edges of the old core. Mission's retail community has never regained its former prominence in the Fraser Valley. Burgeoning exurban population growth connected with the rapid growth of the population of the lower mainland and encouraged by a new commuter rail line direct to downtown Vancouver. The West Coast Express has reversed this trend. Outside of the core urban area, most of which had been the town of Mission City, the former district of Mission was a collection of distinct rural communities, each with their own history and sometimes distinct ethnic flavor. Silverdale, 7 kilometers for 0.3 miles west of Mission on the east bank of the lower Stave River, was homesteaded in the 1880s by Italian immigrants. Neighboring Silver Hill was founded by a Finnish utopian sect who were superseded by Scandinavian and German settlers following a forest fire that virtually wiped out the Finns. Steelhead, in the northern part of the district, was originally a weekend retreat for some of Vancouver's press community. Other localities such as Ferndale, Cedar Valley, and Hatzick were farming communities of mixed origin, with Europeans and Anglicized French Canadians alongside the usual English-Scottish-Canadian mixed type, icle of much of the Fraser Valley. Throughout the Mission area before World War II, there was a large Japanese-Canadian population involved in berry farming, logging and milling, and in the fishery on the river. Westminster Abbey. In 1954, Benedictine monks obtained land near Mission, where they set up their Westminster Abbey and Seminary of Christ the King. They have lived there ever since, running their own farm and teaching high school and college men at the seminary. The berry industry, formerly the district's largest and most important, formed the heart of the town's annual summer party, the Strawberry Festival. The Strawberry Festival began in 1946, when it was suggested by the Board of Trade. But with the impacts on this industry relocation of the Japanese during wartime and the devastating flood of 1948, the strawberry theme was abandoned. The town acquired the rights to the Western Canada Championships of the Soapbox Derby, which were held annually in a specially built facility until 1973. The Derby has been revived in the new millennium. Mission's other major industry was logging, and the town's several mills were noted for being the world's largest suppliers of red cedar shakes and shingles. The district of Mission has operated for many years its own tree farm, covering most of its northern and northwestern mountainous forests. This tree farm served as a model for silvicultural management on a larger scale throughout British Columbia, as well as provided a unique income source for the municipality. From 1967 through the 1970s, the Soapbox Derby shared the July 1st Dominion Day holiday with a large loggers sports event, one of the largest in British Columbia and important on the North American loggers sports. In the 1960s and 1970s, there was a large cluster of productive mills on the waterfront in Mission. For many years world capital of red cedar shake production, the mill at Wannock outproduced the large Saint of the Mission Mills, but Mission City of Mills was the largest overall producer. Nearby Eddie Matchco, between Mission and Hatzick, was the largest matchstick-making plant in the world until it closed in the 1960s. Its only rival was in Hull, Quebec. Adjoining it was the Empress Foods Co. Cannery, the survivor of the struggles of the berry industry in the central Fraser Valley, and dating from the days of Mission supremacy as strawberry capital of the valley before the 1948 Fraser River flood wiped it out. In more recent times, one of these buildings was for a while converted into the province's largest marijuana grow-op, in a scandal involving one of the town's wealthiest families. Mission is noted as the home of a long-established professional drag strip, Mission Raceway Park, which was moved in relatively recent times outside the dicking of the lower part of town to reduce noise in residential and commercial areas nearby. In 1970, to a large tract of land in central Mission's Ferndale area, flat upland at the top of the slope above downtown, was acquired by the federal government and developed into 2 large penal facilities. One is a minimum security facility, and the other is a medium security prison. The northern part of the district, and the wilds of the Stave River Basin to the north of it, are home to a few wilderness work camps for young offenders and low-risk convicts. These camps have over recent decades participated in the ongoing clearing of vast forests of flooded-out trees from the inundated areas of Stave Lake, opening the lake to water recreation and public exploration. In the 1990s, the Junction Shopping Center, Mission's largest shopping center located near the southern tip, was open to the public sate. Economy historically, forestry, hydroelectricity, and agriculture were Mission's chief resource sectors and provided the basis for varied related retail and service activities. In recent history, transportation improvements have enabled the manufacturing sector to expand beyond sawmilling and food processing. Is the chief agricultural enterprise. Other income sources include poultry, hogs, beef, and vegetables. Mission's largest employer is the local school district number 75, and its second largest employer is the district, i.e. the municipality itself. Transportation's West Coast Express Station in 2011 transportation infrastructure includes Abbotsford Mission Highway 11 and the Lowhead Highway 7. Mission is also accessible through commuter rail, the West Coast Express, which runs 5 trains in each direction a day, 5 days a week, between Vancouver and Mission City Station. Bus service in Mission is served by the Central Fraser Valley Transit System, connecting with the city of Abbotsford, as well as TransLink with service to Coquitlam Central Station via Route 701. 3 days per week via rails, the Canadian provides eastbound flag stop service from Mission Harbor Railway Station. Mission differs from some of the other Fraser Valley communities because of its access to the Fraser River. The Fraser near Mission is for the most part undeveloped and unspoiled, which makes Mission the launch point for many water-based activities that happen year-round. Boat tours run from Mission's docks on Harbor Avenue, which are also home to sport and commercial fishing vessels. The Fraser has famous salmon runs and population of green sturgeon. Climate Mission has an oceanic climate, open climate classification CFB due to its proximity to the Pacific Ocean. However, Mission has plentiful rainfall all year round with a drying trend in the summer.